Pete Peterson and Barry Algau.
This is a real great ride. It's one of the most difficult rides to perform. It's a one-legged shoulder stand with the extension. It's worth 2.9 on the degree of difficulty. Very difficult maneuver. Pete and his partner Barry Algau winding up the ride here for distance. Very graceful, very stable.
Very nice indeed.
Beautiful ride. Right at this moment, it looks like
it's Snappy Napoleon and Terry Riggs coming up on the beach. And I think they're going to call it quits for the afternoon, Skip. Apparently, they figure they're too low in the scoring to continue. We've also had John Oye and Susan Moreno drop out.
It got to be a little bit difficult out there with all that water moving around. She looks a little tired.
Well, you can really take a beating in that serve. Now, getting up on the outside is Jack Iverson. Jack with his partner, Susie Smith. Susie having a kind of a hard time getting up. How do you have them after the compulsory figures?
Well, I think right at the moment, I think we'd have to say Bob Moore, Mike Doyle, and Pete Peterson would be in the top three. I don't think Jack and Susie are up there too high.
No, they're down there pretty low right now.
Yeah, they're having a little trouble.
Right into the water.
That backwash really creates a problem. Incidentally, there are some blowholes in the reef on the bottom of this that throw the water up, and you can't see it.
Here's one of the lifeguards coming over. It looks like Dr. Bob Scott has lost his partner.
I think that's correct. Yes, she is on the lifeguards board.
Yeah, that's Janet Fujinari. They got separated when they were wiped out here a moment ago, and I guess they're going to try to continue.
It's no fun for a girl to be swimming out there for a long period while the partner tries to get his board around.
Hey, you know, that brings up a pretty good story, too. The fact that Barry Algau, who is the partner of Pete Peterson, cannot swim. Believe it or not, she cannot swim.
That's correct.
That puts a little pressure on the shoulders of Pete Peterson. Now, Bob Scott has regained his partner, Janet Fujinari, and they're going to continue. And getting up now, Bob Moore. Matt Young is his partner. Patty and Bob finished in 4th place a year ago and came back determined this year in the International Championships to finish higher.
This is a great ride by Bob Moore and his partner, Patty Young. This is a ride that he originated called the Grass Shack. It's worth 2.8, one of the higher rides in the optional tricks. He's doing an excellent job. She is very graceful, very light. She weighs just about 100 pounds, which is ideal for a tandem partner to weigh.
Let me tell you have to have a little confidence in that fall underneath you, don't you? Just to put your head back like that and ride on a surfboard at about 30 miles an hour.
I think she's pretty happy to have someone the size of Bob Moore under. Mike Doyle would put him up into the front three.
And now getting up, Leroy Choi with his partner, Vivian Thomas. This is the little gal who had her teeth knocked out yesterday and who came back today saying, I still want more of that competition.
That's amazing that she has this much on the go to get back out there. 2-arm lift, very beautifully done by Leroy and his partner Vivian.
And as you can see, there's a lot of ballet that's combined with surfing, and off she goes after a good ride. And here's Dr. Bob Scott back in competition now with Janet Fujinari, although they're having just a little trouble getting the maneuver. And we'll be back with the final optional rides in just a moment. As we move into the closing minutes of the tandem competition, 2 more riders up. Rabbit Kekai on the left, Pete Peterson on the right, and I don't think we've ever had as close a competition in this tandem event, Skip.
It sure is close. I'd hate to be trying to judge this one. The way it looks now, according to my figures, I would have Leroy Choi, Bob Moore, and perhaps Pete Peterson right in the top 3. And I think going down now to these last rides, we're going to really see a winner emerge here.
Boy, there is stability itself. 53-year-old Pete Peterson holding Barry Algau up and the 2-handed press. And look how she just completely stretched out there.
Beautiful. One of the best examples of tandem riding I think we'll see in a long time. Look at that dismount, the grace. This ride that we just saw could win this event for Pete Peterson, without a doubt. One of the finest I've seen. Everything was perfect in that ride.
So now as the crowd here on the beach of MAKAHA senses the approach of the final klaxon, Outside once again is Bob Moore trying to get up.
Very nice wave they're picking up on. You notice closely, I see she has a baton in her mouth. This is the trick that they performed at Huntington Beach last year. She's going to twirl the baton in a one-legged shoulder stand.
That's Patty Young, by the way.
Patty Young and Bob Moore. Amazing that she can get all this coordination together while balancing on his shoulder. This, of course, will add points to their score.
I'd like to mention right here our thanks to Wally Floyseth, the event's chairman of the International Surfing Championship, and also John Lynn, the president of the Waikiki Surf Club, the sponsoring organization of the event this year, for all their help and cooperation. It really has been beautifully run, as always. And a very fine ride by Bob Moore and Pat Young. Again, this is the optional portion. You can give free rein to all of your creative talents. And here is Don Hanson with Diane Bolton.
Ooh, wow, he's picked up a good-sized wave. And there are some more waves out there, and I guess they just couldn't hold it when they hit that wash there.
That's a tough break for them. They, too, were up high in the competition. And Rabbit Kikai with his young little partner who he just chose before the event, Kim Stewart.
He's picked himself a good wave. A lot of white water moving around there. We've got a little bit of an offshore wind. I think they're going to attempt a... Oh, no!
And I think that was a four-legged wipeout.
Beautiful.
Now the judges, as we mentioned earlier, we have judges, 6 different judges today from different lands to improve the, let's say, the quality of judging. And there is Rabbit Kikai and Kim Stewart, and she looks kind of chilly and kind of worn out after the competition.
They really gave it a valiant try.
Here, threesome now. Leroy Choi on the left. It's Pete Peterson in the center and Jack Iverson on the right, all catching the same wave.
Boy, whenever we get 3 people or 4 people on a wave, I sure get nervous. I recall that incident we had here last year with 4 people when they all went down.
And Pete Peterson, inverted handstand.
Beautiful. Nice dismount.
And there's the horn signaling the end of the competition, so these rides will count. This is Leroy Choi. Leroy with Vivian Thomas.
This is a very nice ride for Leroy. He should be up high in the standings, too.
And that's it. The competition is over, and here's the way they finished. According to the judges, Pete Peterson and Barry Algau have won first place. Bob Moore and Patty Young in second place. And as you can see, Leroy Choi and Vivian Thomas, kind of the sentimental favorites, have come in third. So that's it for the competition this year, and certainly some of the best that we have ever seen.
You're right, Bill. I think each year the competition seems to get better here at MAKAHA, and of course, every year the waves seem to get bigger. And today we've had a wonderful opportunity to see probably the most beautiful aspect of the sport of surfing, and that is the tandem event.
And once again, the veteran Pete Peterson winning it with his partner Barry Algau. However, at the other end of the scale, the younger members coming up, Reno Abalera, who at the age of 16 won his first junior championship in a closely contested battle with Clyde Aikau. So we'll look forward to seeing them in action again when we return to MAKAHA Beach for next year's competition. The executive producer of ABC's Wide World of Sports is Rune Arledge. Surfing coverage produced by Jim Spence and directed by John Orloff. Ski jumping produced by Robert Rieger, directed by Lou Bobicelli. Associate Director in Garmisch, Ronald Hawkins. Don't forget next week, the World Figure Skating Championships, which we'll be bringing you in color via the Early Bird satellite from Vienna. And now this is Bill Fleming along with Skip Newell saying aloha. Today's program was pre-recorded. Air travel arrangements for ABC's Wide World of Sports made through United Airlines, who also furnished promotional consideration.